Which brings us now to number 763 out of the 4 million names we gotta apologize to of groups. Jesus Christ, how long is this list?
Very long.
Okay, we gotta apparently apologize to Santa Claus.
Uh-oh.
That's because I called him out on his bullshit, because I've been around just as long as him, and he didn't believe me, so I called him a fake, and he would just switch jobs and doesn't fat man a suit every year.
I
got
thought it
mad.
was for me calling him a pedophile that just watches kids to masturbate to them.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that too, probably.
You just took that down a dark path.
I've always thought about that about Santa Claus. That's why whenever I have biological kids, they're not allowed around me for Christmas.
That's probably a good idea.
And next up is apparently someone offended Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, that wasn't me. I love Leo. I would never do that.
It was probably me, but I didn't mean to do it.
What did you do, Aaron?
I don't know. I was probably just saying something, that maybe critiquing something, and he got all butthurt about it. Just like he probably just did now.
God damn it.
Stuck in my past, about to relapse. I keep running back to you.
Anyway, though, guys, welcome back to the whole thing. But before I do the whole spiel, you guys have seen me just handing off the baton for people to do intros. So this time, I'm handing off the baton to Sally over here.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Hi, Sally.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so I'll do me last because, you always should do yourself last if you're doing intros because it's polite. But first we have V. It says Shweeby's not here. I'm going to do the Shweeby thing for V. We have V. And YouTube extraordinaire, multi-talented, kind of weird, but we love him. And then there's Aaron.
Oh, I thought that was... damn it.
No. Well, Aaron's also multi-talented and weird, and we love him.
That's right, the weird. Yep, see? Right there.
And then there's me. I'm
Let's
just
make this weird.
over a 1,000-year-old vampire trying to find her place in the world, never could find it, so. But yeah, I'm on Twitch and on Twitter and on Instagram and all that stuff. So why don't you guys tell us where you can be found, social media-wise, for everybody?
Wow, that between her and Shweebs, I have no idea which one had the most complicated intro I've ever heard.
Well, you put me on the spot. If I knew ahead, I'd have wrote it out.
That's how I feel every time he asks me to do something. That's why I say the weirdest shit.
It's true, but yes, guys, welcome back to What Grinds Our Gears, the podcast where we're still building up to our season finale during Monster Month, where we're going back into the realm of vampires as we're doing the modern-day history of the bloodsuckers. Blah.
Let's see how well we can stay on task tonight.
Yeah.
Man, I always feel all misty-eyed when it comes to our season finales.
Why?
Because it means that the next season's gonna come up in about a week.
Very long.
Anyway, though, I would love to say stuff about the modernization of vampires, but surprise, surprise, guys, I'm not that big a fan of vampires. Bats, sure, I love bats. I wish I could have a bat for a pet.
I just wish I was Batman.
But I don't have any real knowledge about the vampires of the modernization and the sexiness and the, oh my lord, did that one vampire show a nipple on national TV? I think they did.
I love when that happens.
So we're just gonna hand things over to our resident vampire / vampire expert of Sally for the modernization stuff.
Well, the modernization obviously came from the change of how people viewed monsters, I feel. Because originally it was they're deformed, they're scary, Nosferatu creeping around, and they when they didn't have blood, they were drained, and...
They were the bedtime stories parents used to tell their children to get them to behave.
And now I feel like people are viewing humans as more monstrous. Like, I don't know if you've heard that saying, like, all the monsters in Scooby-Doo are humans.
How
like, they're
can
not
you?
actual monsters. They're like telling that humans can do just as many monstrous things as...
No, they
Werewolf.
can't. They can. Don't tell me that. You're shattering my worldview.
So I think that's where, like, them looking normal came in. And then kind of some of them, like, having, like, certain vampires. Like, if you look at Angel, for example, like, he was turned in Buffy, and he was turned against his will. Like, he didn't have a say in that. So you kind of have vampires like that, who are like, I didn't even want this. I don't know why this is happening. I just want to be a normal person again and try to survive. And then you have, like, the truly evil ones that, you know, embrace everything that comes with it. And then you have the ones in between. So I feel like it's more in depth and it's better than the old. And I say that because it's more complex. Because you can have a character like Damon, for example, from Vampire Diaries. When he was human, he was, I wouldn't say naive, but he was very loving, family-oriented. He would look out for everybody. And then when he became a vampire, he was torn through most of his life on how to act. Then he turned off his emotions, and then he found humanity again through love, and then he turned it back on. So that was that complex journey, which I think draws people to vampires. It shows that anyone can struggle with that. But there's so many, like, series out that show different types and how you can handle vampires. So, like, my personal favorites are True Blood and the Vampire Diaries series, and that includes the originals and the future legacies. I've not seen it yet because it's not out yet, but I'm really excited for it. But another good one is also Buffy, and then the Anne Rice book series, which is fantastic as well, because you see that with Lestat and Louis. So I think that's where it changed from being stories of the night to being kind of the air quote hot bad boy or hot girl going through issues, because they're trying to make it I think relatable to people, especially for a younger audience. So they make them look hot, but it's not necessarily a selling point once you get into the story.
Sally,
the
water.
I'm sorry, okay?
No, I was hearing your voice. I was like, Sally, water.
I was doing my cousin Kyle. Wazowski.
Wazowski.
Where's your paper?
Mike Wazowski. But Sally has brought up a brilliant point when it comes to the modernization of vampires, because it's been kind of a nice little sloping mechanism from, like, beforehand during the peak hours of when monsters came from, like, the Penny Dreadful serials that came from Victorian England, newsletters for everything about how vampires were written, how Jack the Ripper was written, how werewolves were written, how the Invisible Man was written. They were all just made as, like, demonizations because it needed to be fear-mongering, just to distract people from all the corrupt nature that was happening in the government from Victorian London. If you don't believe me, look it up, kids. It's a history lesson. Still, how it then progresses the same way that anything does. It molds, it then has its own way to take shape, and then becomes its own unique form that takes its own shape in the world of any sort of facet, whether it's for comedy, romance, horror, action, something to do with how you can make a religious subtext for things. It goes into that whole metaphysical layer about how an idea can then just blossom into something bigger than how the whole original concept came from. With that being the case, since Sally brought up her favorite modern interpretations, it's just up now to me and Hubs over here to talk about our favorites.
Oh, God. Blade.
Blade is great.
Blade is definitely my favorite. Mainly because he's a comic book character, and that's where I grew up, was in the comics. So.
And he's a Dhampir, technically.
Yep.
He's a daywalker.
Yeah, Dhampir.
And his story was interesting because he was born a vampire.
Yes, Dhampir.
Mm-hmm.
His mother was bitten while she was pregnant, and then the blood of the vampire, since was running through her, ran through him. He was born a vampire. He's a half and half, kinda,
Half human, half vampire, a Dhampir.
Yes. That's all I got. I don't really know much more about like other than what I've seen in TVs and film. I do like Being Human.
Oh,
Being Human is great,
Mitchell.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was
and-
my dude.
Well, I loved the relationship of just that whole household, the vampire, the werewolf,
Mitchell,
and the ghost.
George, and Annie.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love that show. Then they ruined it after the season 3 finale.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
George died season 4's premiere. Annie passed away at the end of season 4. Mitchell was killed at the end of season 3. I hated season 4 and 5.
Spoiler alert.
For a show that's already off the air.
Yeah, the
Well, I
show's
know,
gone
but
now.
still.
But I do agree with Sally about the interview with the vampire and the Anne Rice. That's the whole story. That kind of, besides Blade, like my sister was in love with that movie mainly because of Brad Pitt.
Right.
But seeing that in that portrayal of what a vampire is and how there's different classes of vampire and that each one is connected but in a different way. So, like, you're not necessarily, like, in the old stories, the old tales or whatever, there was one head vampire, one master vampire. And if you killed that vampire, the rest of the vampires could become human again. Or they'd lose
Mm-hmm.
their connection to the master and would no longer be able to be controlled by them. Right?
Yeah.
In the interview with the vampire series, it's more like direct, like more the one that bit you is the one who you're closest to,
Mm-hmm.
not the one that bit them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like in the old tales, the master could go out and bite 10 people, and then if those 10 people go out and bite 10 more, the master still controls all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As opposed to like, well, no, it's more direct. The
Mhm.
one who bit you is the one who is the closest or has the most connection with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then your abilities are derived differently too.
Mhm.
You know, some have invisibility, some have, can walk up walls.
Mm-hmm.
I love that it was an evolving species as opposed to they all die from garlic and steaks, like the pine wooden steaks, not the ones that you can eat from a cow. Because that would be ridiculous. Although a clove of garlic killing you is a bit ridiculous too.
I mean, so's the fact that one person's weakness is mistletoe, but let's not compare ridiculous weaknesses.
Well, that was one thing I'll give. Like, okay, I'm gonna preface this by saying I don't hate Twilight. I don't love it. I'm just meh on it. I'm in the middle. One thing I liked about Twilight was how each of them got a special ability. They weren't all the same. I thought that was very cool and reminiscent of Anne Rice. So I thought that was great. So I give props to Twilight for that. But what you're saying, Aaron, about saying how like there's like the master vampire, and then if they died, then this happened. The originals Vampire Diaries series really played on that because you have the original 5 vampires, the original 6 to be, because there's the dad, so there's 6 original vampires. And if one of those vampires die, everyone in their line dies. So what I liked about the Vampire Diaries series is that it kind of combined the modern and the old-fashioned really well. Because they had a part where like witches could unlock the link, so that way you wouldn't all die if an original was killed, and they brought in other elements to it. There's werewolf witches. So I thought that was pretty fantastic of the series to do that, and how it ended was very good. Like I really liked the finale of the originals. But that's why that's one of my favorites, because it combines everything together. So it makes it really interesting, because you're like, oh, I've heard of this and this lore, but it's a little bit different because it's in a modern, different setting. So like they're not affected by like crosses or holy water or garlic or whatever, but they still burn in the sun. So the only way they can walk in the sun is if they have like a ring or a necklace that's gifted with magic from a witch. So they still have a lot of basic weaknesses of an old school vampire, but it's not so cheesy and cliche. So
Can you
That's
tell
why
that
that-
this is Sally's favorite topic?
I got the Bible here.
The
When
Bible.
the originals Bible book comes out, I'm gonna get the other one, and I'll have 2 of them. But yeah, True Blood also did a really good job of that. But True Blood why I love True Blood was it was just so unique and different. Like, they had shapeshifters, they had fairies, they had vampire gods, they had blood gods, they had like a little bit of everything. It was the weirdest combo of stuff in the world, but the lore was so interesting and cool. And they didn't have that connection. Like, if an original vampire died, like, none of them died before that. Like, it was just not there. So, like, one maker died and they all lived. So that was nice. But True Blood, it was very modern about it. And it brought in, like, a lot of other lores and made the world really unique. So that's why True Blood's my second favorite modern iteration of it.
What about you, V? You haven't gone yet.
I was just waiting.
I'm done now.
For myself, although, like I've told everybody, vampires aren't my thing. The best one for myself was definitely Mitchell from Being Human, because it kind of gave itself a whole different sense of where Europe was trying to go with the vampire lore, the way that other people weren't at the time. Like, I'm not gonna be one of those people that says that I love Twilight or I hate it. I'm one of those people that is just like, I despise it, but I can't deny all the good things that came about it. But at the same time, Being Human would probably be the better written story than what anything that could come out of whatever the bitch's name is mouth.
She's not the guy of a writer, so it doesn't.
But the whole thing, I'm trying to get back to the point is that when I was watching the show, at least from Mitchell's perspective about how there's the hierarchy, how there's just some people are just bound to the people that bit them to have their whole links here and there, just like you can never leave the coven, you'll always be entangled with them, the only way to leave is through death. That's something kind of like a mafioso mentality, which is what I kind of imagine how modern vampires actually would interpret things, because they have that whole tie together about having a unique family that goes beyond stuff of blood being thicker. It's literally them infecting you with their venom into your blood that's the thickest.
Mm-hmm.
The whole bloodline kind of aspect.
Yeah. But that's just the whole thing for me. And to clarify one thing that I overheard, there is technically one bat god that's tied to vampires, thanks to, I think, either the Mayans, Incans, or the Aztecs, which is Camazotz, the god of bats. To sacrifice blood to him would mean like getting unlimited power in some form or another, so it could tie into vampirism into early Mesoamerican societies.
And y'all thought Nosferatu was first.
Written, yes.
Actually, I think Dracula was one of the originals, wasn't he?
Nosferatu, Dracula,
Vlad
and Camazotz are technically the original three.
It's just very different timelines.
Yeah. And there's so many different vampire worlds. Like, you could look at different, like, you could look at Anne Rice, you can look at Vampire Diaries, you can look at True Blood.
You can look at Sharon
Blade.
Kenyon's whole thing about Dark Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
But those also have werewolves.
Somebody should make a movie, or maybe even a comic, about how each of the monsters, maybe Universal could do this if they'd actually listen to an idea instead of just make up their own.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the monsters has their own universe, you know, like there's vampires. Much like we humans have Earth, and there could be a parallel universe out there where there's another me walking around. But in this storyline, each different universe, there are different species of monsters. So, like, there's a vampire Edward or whatever, and then in a different universe, there's a werewolf Edward, and then a different
that would be cool.
There's a Frankenstein Edward, and a different one there's a Creature from the Black Lagoon Edward. You know what I mean?
That'd be great.
All of them basically being Robert Pattinson, just like, can someone please shoot?
I just picked Edward. Okay, I didn't mean a specific vampire. Okay,
it's just the name Edward.
It was just the name Edward. I'll use Mitchell. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a really cool idea, actually.
And then, not only, but you could, like, set up each universe shortly, whether it's in a comic or a movie, or maybe a TV series would be a better format for it. And then, like, within the first 3 episodes, something happens. Just like in every kind of great drama series lately, something like big happens, whether it's in I can't think right now. Never mind. Something happens, and now the universes are able to cross over, right?
So basically, kind of like a Crisis on Infinite Earths / what was that other one? Infinite Crisis sort of thing. Like having all the DC lines merged together to try and make a big outstanding war between all the parallels. Is that like the thing you're trying to do? Because I know like you're the big comic book guy, so that's the only thing I could think of top of my head.
So like the first couple episodes, you'd have to establish each universe and how they work and the hierarchies and all of that, right? You kind of want to get into depth of what each universe would be like, right? And since there's so many, you probably need quite a bit of time to devote to that. So I don't know how you'd fit it into a format other than comics.
3 seasons, 4 specials, and at least 63 episodes.
But yeah, something similar. Like, what happens are the universes like? What if they can cross over, but it's only a certain time of year, so it only happens like once a year? And how are they dealing with this? Are they trying to actively prevent it from happening? Are they trying to take over the other universe? What goes on? There's a whole bunch of just lore story you can build off of it. Or maybe they merge and that's it. There's one universe now and they all exist in it.
Or maybe Barry Allen fucked up the timeline again.
There were no
Barry Allen.
I can't say that. I can't say there were no vampires in that because technically there is a vampire in Batman.
There are like 3 of them in Batman. And like
there's even one in Spider-Man.
Morbius.
Anyways, I just think that would be kind of a cool, idea. Maybe one society is like one of these universes. Maybe it's the vampire universe. Even it's kind of it's our society, but we as humans are kind of subservient to the vampires. We're their fodder. They don't think of us as human. They think of us as less than, and we're just their fodder.
For food.
And there's an active rebellion going, like trying to fight for the humans in that universe, and then
that would be cool. I would like that. That would be cool.
You could set up an entire backstory just for each universe, and then just boom, something happens, and they're all, vampire Mitchell gets to meet werewolf Mitchell. What will happen?
Right.
And then
another
on Tumblr,
great thing. Oh God, Tumblr.
And then on Tumblr, just be like, and then they saw each other and their eyes melted as if they were trying to stare down each other as they unzip their pants. Whoa, wait a minute, Tumblr, that's not a plot synopsis.
Or maybe, we could get a little bit more expansion on the whole idea, like in Underworld, they delved into the idea of the hybrid, a werewolf-vampire mix, right? Not only that, you could, like, if you've got all the monsters in it, it couldn't just be werewolves and vampires that could do that, right? Well, what if an ancient being like the Mummy tried to procreate or create new life, but he did it with someone other than another mummy? You know what I mean? Like, what sort of combinations could we come up with?
Mummy-pyre.
You get
Mummy-pyre.
You get Erwin from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Well, actually, the originals and the Vampire Diaries series did talk about hybrids, and it was the first time I've heard about it since Underworld. Because they have Niklaus, who is a werewolf and also a vampire. He hooks up with a werewolf. They have a child who is a hybrid, but you later find out that there's magic in the original bloodline. Like, before they were vampires, they were witches. So she is a tribrid. So now they're tribrids. And so that's what the new series is going to be about. Legacies is going to be about the tribrid and about handling that.
Well, I liked how the first Underworld did it, and like, he gets bit by her to try and save his life because he had been scratched by a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
And him going through that first change and her trying to like calm him down and sweetie, it's me, Yeah. And then when something happens to her, he just freaks out and starts killing everybody, right? And then they fucked up.
Wasn't the last movie have the kid in it? I didn't see the last.
I don't
The
even know,
kid
but
was there, but they didn't do anything with the
Oh,
kid. It was just
okay.
like, this kid's important.
But like
okay.
the whole point of the first movie was like, yes, the movie's about her, but it
Mm-hmm.
was more about what happens when there's a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
And then they made it just about her, and he disappeared like off the face of the planet. Like, he is no longer exists. He's dead, I think.
He by Felicia.
Is there?
He's-
It's like, where's my husband? No
He's
idea.
supposed to be like the most powerful being because he's got a mix of both of these powerful beings, and he can use
Mhm.
both. And now he's nothing. We just wrote him out.
Yeah, it's just like, where's my husband? No idea. Where's my child? Oh, she's right here. Can she do anything? No, she's just special. That's basically how they treated the entire the last movie for Underworld. Just like now they're looking for her mate, husband, whatever the fuck you want to call him. And it's like, wow.
So I'm trying to remember. Is he in Underworld 2?
He is in Underworld too, where
Yeah,
he gets
he's
his
in
ass
there.
kicked royally. Where it's just,
By the original, by the Elder, right?
yeah, and it's just like,
Bill Nye.
dude, you're supposed to be good.
Right, you're supposed to be this badass, and then he's just non-existent in 3, right? He's not even there.
No, in 3, I think it's supposed to be the story of the Lycans,
Yeah.
and then
So he
it's,
wasn't really a focus.
and then it's the other thing leading to them in the future where they apparently have a kid, but the kid doesn't apparently have any powers, and then it's kind of like, wait, what? Why? What's the importance?
Yeah, they just totally screwed up the whole story. But whatever. I don't have to like it. I don't have to like it for people to like
Right.
it. So
Yeah,
Whatever.
I would love to see a World of Darkness show because the tabletop game is so much fun, and the Vampire Masquerade games are fantastic.
But they
So
fucked
I
up
would-
the TV show for Vampire the Masquerade.
They could redo it now because with vampires coming back with TV, they could redo it.
You need a good
And I
director
feel
to
like-
make it though.
Oh, they could. I feel like they could.
just give it to Netflix
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah, let's give it to them.
or
But I think it
Hulu
would be
or
great.
even Prime. They've got tons of good
Yeah.
shows now.
But you still
Mhm.
need a good director. That's the thing I keep emphasizing to people.
Well,
They're
just-
just like,
well-
I want this show, but then as soon as they get it, I hate how the show happened, a la
We'll give 'em-
Iron Fist.
We'll give him John Favreau.
Or give them George Wiseman, the guy that wrote all the stuff for the original seasons for Gargoyles and wrote the first 2 seasons for Spectacular Spider-Man before they decided to cancel that because Marvel and Disney apparently hate having fun things.
But on a side note, I liked Iron Fist V.
I did too, but that's still the argument I'm trying to say. People want these things, but as soon as they get it, because certain directors don't do the same vision people want, like, oh my god, why isn't Iron Fist going from an original white guy from the comics to being an Asian American?
Wait. See, that was the thing that I think we talked about it and touched on. I know we're segueing a little bit, but I have to say it again.
What we've already covered like a great detail. We can
Yeah,
kind of
we can segue a
for a
little
while.
So, that's the thing I don't get. You got every time a comic book movie comes out, every comic book nerd out there is critiquing it, right? I stopped critiquing comic book movies after I saw Dolph Lundgren playing the Punisher, okay? I knew I wasn't going to get what I saw in the comic books.
I stopped
It was
critiquing
just
when
a
I
fact.
saw Dare Flick.
But the problem here is you have all the whiners out there saying, it's got to be right, it's got to be perfect. X-Men came out. I liked X-Men.
I
Was
loved
it
X-Men.
freaking X-Men from the comics? No, it wasn't the X-Men from the comics.
X-Men Last Stand, though, can still burn in hell.
Either way, the point I'm getting at is this. All of those comic book whiners out there complain every time a comic book movie comes out.
Or a TV
Because
show.
it's not the way that it was in the comics. It's not, this isn't his backstory. Oh, they changed everything. And the moment, and this was even Marvel that had control that did the Iron Fist series. It was the damn writers of the freaking comic books that did it. And the comic book people are out there like,
Why
Why
is he
is
so
he-
boring? Why are his moves so stiff? Why is he like the Danny Rand that we know? Why isn't he Asian American? It's like, guys, first of all, Finn
He-
Jones just left Game of Thrones. he hasn't had the full-blown time he needed to get the martial arts choreography down. Also, Danny Rand is an Asian American. He's full-blown white.
Not only on top of that, but I don't know how Iron Mist comics sold around UV, but they did not sell well around here because they were kind of boring.
I owned at least all of the Heroes for Hire series. That's how I knew about him. I didn't know about him until I was just like, oh, I wonder what his backstory... Oh, wait, his parents were killed because this guy in a wheelchair.
What?
I
Yeah,
mean,
in the original thing, the guy that's supposed to be like the brand new owner of Rand Enterprises, where his kids run the place for him, he's supposed to be in a fucking wheelchair when Danny finds him years later after leaving Kunlun to get his revenge. But he's so far in a fucking wheelchair that no one really wants to fuck with him. He ends up accidentally taking his own life, and then that's when Danny's trying to then become a hero in the name of Iron Fist for Kunlun. That's how it's originally supposed to happen, but because people want story and depth, they decided to make him a member of the Hand so that he could fight him on a legitimate standpoint. Still struggle with how he's doing with survivor's guilt because he left Kunlun to focus on finding inner peace, which is something that a good director-writer does. But because people were just trying to be like, oh, he's so stiff. Oh, he's totally not like the Danny we wanted. Oh, he's not Asian American like we really requested. It's like, guys, shut the fuck up and take your whole self-entitled tiny 2-inch dick out of your mouth to realize nothing's supposed to be perfect.
Nothing ever will be.
You take what you can for what people attempt to do and be grateful. Otherwise, nothing will be made ever again.
So, anyways, enough of our little rant about that.
We then finally reverge back into vampirism, guys. See,
I
we
was
can
gonna
segue and then come
suggest-
back.
I was going to suggest maybe doing something, because you were mentioning it, the director for the show or whatever.
Yes.
You had to find the right director. Maybe you could do something like Black Mirror does, and every episode or every
Yeah.
whatever is done by a different director with a different viewpoint. I know Star Wars is kind of famous for doing that.
That
now.
would be cool, especially with World of Darkness, because there's so many different types of vampires and different lores behind it. To have, like, a different point of view for each type of vampire would be fantastic.
And if they could redo Vampire the Masquerade that way instead of what they did the first time, because God knows they fucked up that.
Yeah, I heard about the first time they attempted that, and I was like, hell no.
The
I think it would-
Toreadors, my clan, were made to be boring.
Toreadors are not boring. They are charismatic assholes.
The Brujas, they were the most prevalent, but they were just mostly in suits.
I'm
just
a
think
Bruja.
it would
I
be
wanna
interesting. I think it'd be interesting, maybe the writers wouldn't like it, or maybe the director himself might even not like it. I don't know how they think out there, but I think it would be interesting to see one person's vision, right?
Mhm.
And then for the next season, you go out and you're hiring a different person to add on to that vision.
Mhm.
And they come in and they read everything they need to know, and they're fully up to the speed and everything. And then we get to see their vision, like what's going to happen. The story isn't going to go the direction the way the first person saw it, right? So maybe even you have, let's say, just a group of directors that you want to work with. 5, right?
Mhm.
And you can make it cyclical. Every 5 years it goes back to the first director. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that there's still some of that original idea left at the end of the day after the cycle is complete. So if, like, let's say a character gets killed off or dies, and the original thought was, oh no, that was supposed to be the main focal point, right?
Mhm.
When that 5th cycle comes back around, maybe they can talk to a witch or resurrect him somehow through a new lore that they have created. So you get a little bit of what you want every different go round.
That would be cool.
That would be an interesting take, and I wouldn't mind watching it. Just gotta find the right promising directors to be like, at
Right.
least go alongside to be, oh, I see your vision for this part of the story, so let me follow it on this side of the story. That way no one can be like, the continuity doesn't make any sense, or the story feels like it's falling flat in these surfaces. You'll still have complainers, because no one's going to be happy
Yeah.
with just
Right.
being like, oh, someone made something for us? Wow!
Well, I think you can kind of take it by example because Doctor Who does a similar thing. Every episode is directed or written by a different person on the crew.
Yes, and the continuity is fantastic, except for how old the Doctor is, how many kids he has, how many marriages he's been in.
You mean like the fact that the Doctor's technically supposed to be dead now because of the foreshadowing in the, from 3 seasons? 4? No.
No, that's a different
Matt
timeline
Smith's
that
Doctor?
happened. That's a different timeline now.
But the way they work around it, like they're working together, right? All these writers, even though it's a different one for each episode, they're in the same room talking about it, working through it. You know what I mean? So it's like they have constant awareness of what each person's idea was, and they get input from those other people on how to fix the plot holes. You know, so they take a page from the Doctor Who series. You know, the longest running TV series in television history ever,
except for The Simpsons and Gunsmoke.
No, it is the longest because it's been around since the 60s. The only problem is they kind of took a break in the 90s.
Yeah, because not a lot of
And
people
the
were watching the 7th Doctor.
Right, they became like TV movies or made for TV movies?
No, they just made one movie for my least favorite Doctor of all, the 8th Doctor.
Well, actually, what a lot of shows do, like, I know with Vampire Diaries, for example, they had the cast direct episodes.
Oh, there
so,
you go.
like, it was really great because, like, they know these characters. They know this story inside out. So it's interesting to see them, like, direct an episode through the eyes of Stefan or Caroline or Bonnie or whatever actor was directing. It was a really cool thing to do.
But
So if a show could do that again...
did they do that like right from the outset, or did they have to establish the story first and then they were like, okay, you guys...
You have to establish the story first before you
Yeah.
allow the cast to do anything.
That's what I thought.
Like, they didn't start having the cast do directing until, like, season 3 or 4. So they had, like, 2 seasons of, like, set, known story, and then they could really divulge into their own thing.
I think that would be really cool. That'd
Yeah.
be sustainable, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you wouldn't have issues like you're having on The Walking Dead now, where major cast members are walking away because it's just maybe they weren't expecting it to last this long. You know,
Yeah, possibly.
they're, if you allow them to be a part of the process, then they're more invested in it. You know.
Yeah, it's like what they're doing. I hope they do that with the new Buffy series because they are rebooting Buffy, but it's going to be with a brand new Slayer. Like, it's going to be in this century. It's going to be with this generation of kids. Not going to be 90s.
Is it going
So it's
to have?
be-
Is it going to have a connection though?
No. The only
Maybe
connection is that
homages to like the
Yeah.
older cast, like maybe calling Sarah Michelle Gellar and all the other actors that did things to be like reference points to the original series.
But it's going to be a brand new story, new characters, a new vampires, new lores. They're just going to expand on the Slayer lore.
It's kind of like what
Which
they're
is
trying to do
exciting.
with the Sabrina the Teenage Witch story,
Yeah.
except forgetting the fact that Riverdale exists.
Right?
I thought it would be kind of cool, like if it was like picking up on Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar,
With a kid?
with a kid. Like her daughter is now the new Slayer.
See, that
'Cause
would be cool, too.
That would have been
In-
nicer. Why do people realize that you don't need to reboot just to have like a whole new...
Well, let me because in the original movie, this is a movie from the 90s. It's not a Sarah
Yeah.
Michelle Gellar
Yeah.
series that started. That was the thing. This was a movie from the 90s. Okay, and in that movie, Buffy was actually a chosen one. She was Slayers were chosen, right?
Oh, yeah, and the shows that are chosen, too.
Yes. So in the new show, they could make, the original Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was the chosen one, but is no longer, right? Because with those chosen ones comes special abilities and special trainings, right? And if she's no longer the special one, she's just the mom now. She can't fight, so she's just kind of like she's there as reference and maybe some comedic relief or mom and dad jokes here and now, or whatever. But the new chosen one is her daughter. right?
Mhm.
Like,
And
That
she's
would've
just
been
like, I gotta hide it from my mom. She will never understand.
Yeah.
right,
Which is like a
right.
wink and a nod to like older fans to be like, yeah, she'd never understand. Wink.
Right.
But at the end of Buffy, they actually had it to where, with the destruction of the Hellmouth, it awoken every Slayer's power. So every Slayer became a chosen one. Did they know automatically they were? No, but they would gain that ability. So I think what the new show is going to do is go off of that and just focus on, like, a new group of teens and just go with the same formula as Buffy.
But that still leaves the whole thing of a missed opportunity for not a reboot, but just a continuation.
Yeah, it should have been a continuation, honestly. But, like, I'm just happy
Well,
Buffy's coming back.
Even when they rebooted Vacation, and I
Yeah.
know that wasn't like a big blockbuster hit. They called it a reboot,
Vacation.
with Chevy Chase back in the 90s,
Oh,
80s.
Oh, yeah.
They rebooted it, but with Ed Helms, or is it Ed Helms? Anyways, he played Rusty. He played the kid from the original movies. I mean, it's not the same kid, but he played that character. And Chevy Chase, and I forget her name now, which is terrible. I don't want to forget her name. Came back as the original parents to play the roles of the original parents. They weren't major in the film. They weren't a major presence. I think you only get to see them in the beginning and the end, because the story's not about them anymore. It's about the kids, right? That's kind of what, that's a great way to do it. It's not technically a reboot, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like God of War, the whole God of War reboot. That game is not a reboot, because the lore is still there. He is still the Ghost of Sparta. This is just a new version.
It's just a continuation, like I said.
Right.
Well, like,
Exactly.
a lot of people wanted Spike and Angel to come back, and the actors even said, they never age. We do.
Right.
Spike and Angel are not coming back. We're going to have new vampires, new group, a new Scooby Gang, air quotes, Scooby Gang. They'll probably throw in, that's what they called themselves.
They
They'll
could just
probably
do
throw in
like throwaway
references.
stuff, just like they're around.
Yeah, they probably will do that. They'll be like, oh, maybe Willow becomes a teacher, like our college professor Willow. Like, they could do that, and that would all
I
be...
have
Plus,
to
didn't an angel, he erased himself from Buffy's memory?
Yeah, that's true, he did. He did. I remember that now. Because they saw, because an Angel, Spike, and Angel went to see Buffy and saw her with somebody, like this human guy, like having a normal life and being happy, and they decided to let her go.
Hi,
And then I
Violet.
remember Angel saying something happened where he like wanted to erase that memory of him so she could have a normal life. Yeah.
That seems
Darn.
about right.
Well, fine. Just reboot the show then.
Hi, Jenny. Bye, Jenny.
Well, they're already rebooting it, so there's nothing we can do.
I know.
But Josh Whedon's coming back, which is important. So the original
Well,
person
that's
is helming
good.
it, which will be good. So, and even if they got like the original cast to do directing of the episodes, it'd be cool too. I think that would be pretty fantastic.
I'm sure there'll be guest appearances.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, people in Hollywood don't age either. You look at all of the actors that portray any of those original characters, they all look the same as they did freaking 20 years ago.
like Sarah
Not
Michelle
Spike and
Gellar.
Angel. Not Angel. Angel, I mean, he aged like a normal person. Like, he went from like that hot dude to like the dad bod. Like, he just did. Like, he
Just
doesn't
put him
look
in the
the same.
gym then, damn.
Just get a workout on him. He'll be good. He'll be fine.
I mean, look at Will Smith. He got all up in the gym, and look at how well he's kept for himself.
Or look at the de-aging process they do in movies now. They made Samuel L. Jackson look like 90s Samuel L. Jackson in the new Captain Marvel, apparently.
I mean, look at Johnny Depp. They had to de-age him back to his 21 Jump Street days for one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Right? Jeez. It's crazy how that works. Cool, but it's still crazy. He looked
Just
like
good
freaking.
coding.
He looked like
Except
Johnny
Harry
Depp from
Potter.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
We're gonna talk about the horrible aging of the Harry Potter kids
Look,
at the 19 years
let's not
later.
go with special effects makeup here, okay? That's not digital
They
effects.
look
That's
horrible.
special effects problem.
I'm like, it was 19 years later, not 50. What are you doing? No.
They went from 13 to going on 60.
Yes.
That should be a movie. 13 going on 60.
60.
Oh, God. Where's my AARP?
I need my social security money.
God damn it, woman!
But man, we've only diverted like maybe 20% out of an 80% cast
that?
today. How is
We're
it
good.
whenever we're inching towards a season finale, we're super fucking focused?
We're just focused on it. That's
Don't worry, V. Next week. We always have next week.
We always have next week. But since it's inching towards that time, guys, we gotta go down further on this list. It's still several miles long!
Oh my God.
How many people can we offend in 2 seasons?
Wait, V.
Yes.
Is Keanu Reeves on the list?
Let's see, Dolly Parton, Alec Baldwin, Billy Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin,
all the Baldwins.
Robin Thicke, Alan Thicke,
Wait a second, they're not even related.
Winona
Yeah, they are.
Ryder, Ashley Judd,
The Judds.
yeah, the Judds, Miley Cyrus, Billy Ray Cyrus,
All the Cyruses. Noah
Mitchell
Cyrus.
Musso. No, Noah Cyrus. She's not even on the list apparently.
The cast of Hannah Montana. Is that what you're saying?
No, not even them.
As long as it's
Mitchell
not the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Right. We don't want to piss them off.
Selena Gomez, Justin
You want
Bieber.
Alex Russo doing magic on your ass.
So I'm not hearing I'm not hearing Keanu's name.
Here he is. Here he is, right here.
No. Please tell me he's not on the list.
No, he's on the list.
Son of a bitch. It wasn't
Sandwiched in between Oprah and Angela Bassett.
We'll just blame Phoenix for the Keanu Reeves one because he's not here. Okay. We'll just.
But gotta get back to where we left off. Last time we said Santa. Next up is fuck.
I didn't know that was a person.
No,
Yeah.
no. I say fuck because it's someone that's already dead.
I was gonna say, did we insult sex in general? That's why you said
Oh,
fuck.
man.
Oh no, that's next on the list. But
Fornication under consent of king.
apparently we offended Prince.
Oh. Now I'm really, really
Who
sad.
offended Prince?
I don't know.
It wasn't
But,
one of us.
okay,
three.
let's not get too butthurt about that because it wasn't very hard to offend Prince. I'll be honest.
Like all I said was Purple Rain was a great song.
It even has it listed there, right there. That's what offended him.
No, they didn't even list it. Our lawyers are dicks.
Yeah.
Wait, we have lawyers? I think I ask you this every time.
We also have dressing rooms where people send us gifts.
But yeah, next up is indeed sex. Apparently people were offended for something that we did for the Talking Dick podcast. I still get letters from people saying that we need to bring it back, but I'm like, well,
How about this? If we're going to continue to do this on Saturdays, which I would love,
Works better for me.
we'll definitely do it every Saturday, but
we could definitely go back to the midnight broadcast if you'd like.
we could. I'd have to edit super quickly, but we could. Next up, after sex, we have to apologize to Aquaman.
Fuck Aquaman.
The skinny.
Except for the new one, okay?
Yeah, the
Jason
new
Momoa was pretty
Aquaman
good.
though.
Like, everyone wants
Sorry,
to fuck
Peter
Aquaman.
I didn't mean it that way. Jeez.
No. When you say that, I'm just like, but everybody wants to fuck Aquaman now. It's Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants to jump on his trident, basically.
It was like the other day when I was on stream talking about Jason Derulo and naked people. And luckily, I got that problem fixed, but still.
Next up, though.
You better not say Jason Derulo, because I didn't insult that man.
No, it's the writer for Nacho, not his son Burrito.
Oh, jeez. We talked about it.
Yeah,
you don't. You like Naruto and Burrito? I like Naruto too. I even like his kids show, Burrito show.
Like, apparently we gotta apologize to the writer of Nacho and Nacho's son Burrito.
I get it, P.
I'm sorry, but it's just like I can't take the name seriously. Who names their son so close to a fucking meal that you have from either Wawa's, not from a Mexican restaurant, or from fucking Taco Bell?
This is
That
why
would
we
just
have
always
to
make
apologize.
me hungry. That would just always make me hungry.
And for those of you who out there who don't know, Baruto is Naruto's son in the new series on Funimation. Check it out.
We're not endorsed by Funimation. We've already offended them like I don't know how many times, but
I know you just did it again by calling him Burrito as well as
because
I did.
it sounds so close to fucking burrito. Boruto,
I know, that's
burrito.
That's what Cadillac calls him too.
Hear that, Sally? We're already teaching our niece and nephews bad stuff up high.
Woohoo! Claps.
Okay, next up, Tyle Kubo, the writer of Bleach.
I wasn't there for that one.
That's Cam.
I don't remember. I don't remember that one.
I don't either.
What was my Phoenix?
Next up, Sigourney Weaver.
Aw, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I like her.
I still remember her on Saturday Night Live talking about her own ass like it's the biggest treasure in the world.
Hey,
Right.
at the time, it probably was.
Mm-hmm.
After Sigourney Weaver, it's Michael Clark Duncan?
What?
He's dead!
What did... Nothing we said he would have heard.
He's dead!
He's been dead since before the podcast. How is this possible?
I don't
Oh, wait.
understand!
You know what this means? V, do you know what this means?
What?
At some point during the show, we invent time travel.
We
It's as
already
simple as
did,
that.
remember?
It's as simple as that.
We already did, remember? We went back to the 80s and the 90s.
We did. Talk about all the great stuff.
That's why Michael Clark Duncan has to be apologized to.
Anyway. Next up is Stephen King.
We
What?
did do like a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, but we
Didn't
didn't...
we? Yeah.
didn't
We didn't
trash
insult
it.
him in any way. It was all
Yeah.
positive.
What the hell?
Like,
God,
he's the
these guys-
master of suspense and horror and...
You know what we're going to start sending out for our gift baskets, V?
Hmm?
We're going to send every gift basket with a jar of Vaseline.
I like how Jenny just yelled out boob corn.
Yes, she's... boob corn.
Boobs.
We'll send them a box of boob corn, too.
So, Vaseline and boob corn, because I can't hear all the complaints from that pity dick in their mouth.
Right?
Next up is Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, come on. Nobody offends Ryan Reynolds.
I just figured that was a troll thing because it also puts like a troll face. I'm just like, so Ryan Reynolds is trolling us. That's great.
The next name's going to be Deadpool, right? Because they're two separate people.
Actually, it's written in crayon.
Oh, Jesus. That's even better.
We got hijacked by Deadpool again, guys.
Oh, no! Well, that's unfortunate.
Every time, everything I do now, he just shows up like in one of my drawing videos. Next up is Chris Brown's dick.
I am not apologizing for that.
No.
They literally
No.
wrote it as Chris Brown's dick.
They just forgot the A.
Not
Just
wrong.
forgot the A in that sentence.
After that, it's apparently we gotta apologize to Triple X Tentacion. Only thing
I don't recall that
I'm
one.
probably the only one who knows who that is, so I don't see that apology happening.
Well, I know.
I
who
know
it is.
from the
I just
news
don't know
who
why
he
it
is.
I don't know why we need to apologize.
Fuck if I know. Next up, God, there's so many names.
You're not even going in alphabetical order.
What alphabetical order? I'm just reading it what it says.
Uh-oh. 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 Oh. 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 Oh.
Good thing we don't have MC Hammer on this list because he's too poor.
Oh. Ouch. I don't really think he's poor anymore though.
He might as well be.
Oh wow. That is part of my childhood, V.
He's
You
part of
know,
mine,
I used
too.
to know every word of Too Legit. Okay?
Too
Every
legit.
word.
Too legit to quit.
Hey, hey!
I mean, he was part
Yeah.
of my childhood too, but let's see who's next. Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady have a choke a bitch?
I don't understand that one myself.
That's because of what I just said right there.
Uh,
I don't.
King Enma.
What about Koenma?
No, not Koenma. King Enma. We're trying to apologize to the Buddhist owner of hell. Sally, do you want to field why we have to apologize to him, or?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I have no clue. Was
Yeah.
it because we sent a human to his realm and he just won the tournament and all of that? Or
Don't need to know that.
oh, sorry. What?
Next up are the citizens of Atlantis.
But they've been dead for thousands of years.
Or so they say.
Oh, I suppose if Aquaman we had to apologize to, then yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see, something about my ex-wife.
Hey, how do you feel about Zachary Levi playing Shazam?
I have no real opinion.
No?
I never really cared for Captain Marvel.
Which one? No, I'm just kidding. Because there are two. There's one in the DC universe and there's one in the Marvel universe.
But
and
they
one
had
is
to rename
actually called.
Captain Marvel Shazam because they needed a name change, even though it's the name of the wizard giving his powers.
Right. Yep. And in Marvel Comics, he's actually he is actually Marvel.
Then it was Ms. Marvel in her sexy ass One Piece before.
Who is actually the mother of Rogue in the X-Men comic book series. Which is
allegedly.
Oh no, I'm sorry. She's not the mother. I'm sorry.
She's
Rogue-
like the person that gave Rogue her powers.
Right. So Rogue touched Captain Marvel
I'd like to touch
Barehanded.
Captain Marvel.
for too long. Well, she did it for too long, and that's why she's able to retain the powers. Like she almost killed Captain Marvel
I'd still like to touch Captain Marvel.
to the point where Captain Marvel no longer had her powers for a period of time, and I forget how long it is. Which is why in the comics, Rogue is able to fly, and she has superhuman strength, which is something they never fucking showed in the comics. It's one of my problems with the comics.
But then they
Oh,
then they
so
wrote
much-
about her finally mastering her powers, where she could finally touch people. But we'll get to all that in a different date.
All that in a bag of chips, baby. There's a nice
Apparently,
difference.
we gotta apologize to. This is weird. This is very weird. Sally,
What?
they wrote that we need someone to apologize to the cast of Vampire Diaries and the originals.
Oh, geez.
Why? All I've been doing is praising it.
Do I look like I know? I'm just reading the damn list.
That's probably for me, because I picked on prissy vampires in the last podcast about vampires.
Oh, that's
True.
not for you. The next person on here is the fucking writer of Twilight. That's for me.
Oh.
I'm not apologizing to that 2-bit no writing hack. Fuck her.
Hey, that's probably for both of us. I was picking on sparkly vampires, too.
I'm not apologizing to her, nor am I gonna apologize to E.L. James, who's underneath her. I'm not apologizing to
Yeah.
anyone that wrote 50 Shades.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, who's that?
Anyone that insults my original fetish can go to fucking hell.
Wait, whoa. Oh!
Original
TMI. TMI.
It's not really TMI. I'm open about my sexual history.
I know, that's why it's TMI. No, I'm kidding. Oh,
I
I'm
got
sorry.
him.
See, I gotta apologize to B now.
Not really. Next
Get
up,
my lawyers on the phone!
though, Will Smith.
Why?
Anyone understand what that one?
No.
I do not. I really don't. I love Will Smith. I love just about everything he does.
We all love Will Smith. I don't understand this one.
Neither do I.
Jiggy with it.
Matter of fact, I think that's the only thing that I can... Nope, his raps were pretty catchy too, so I guess I can't.
The man knew how to spit bars.
I can't even think of any bad thing he's really done.
Well, maybe
Right.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah, but the
Even-
song was great.
What?
The song was
song
great.
was
The
great.
movie was just...
Yeah.
It was enjoyable, but it was still just... Why?
It was good camp. It's good campy movie. You gotta laugh at something.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was funny.
Yeah.
I love Bad Boys. I love Bad Boys 2. There's a Bad Boys 3 coming.
Only if Martin Lawrence can get in the fucking gym.
Because I want another scene. I want another scene like the one from Bad Boys 2, where Martin Lawrence's daughter opens the door, or
What the fuck you looking at?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
and Will Smith goes off on the fucking
Marcus!
dog.
Hey, who the... Is that a no? It's Reggie! Who the fuck is Reggie? If you won't... I'm here to take his daughter. I'm sorry, what? I'm here to take his daughter. My name is... Motherfucker, I heard your name was Reggie. Here to take... Megan now. How old is you? 15. Shit, you at least 30.
That's my favorite scene from that whole movie. Is that one, and then when Martin Lawrence in the pool and the pool explodes. Like,
Which time?
I'm sorry. I like Bad Boys. Oh, you know what?
Got money on my mind day to day. Please don't play with mine, put it in the bag. Usually I can leave it in the past. You gon' make me have to show my ass. Ooh, I can love you till the sun comes up. Let me lay your body down. You don't even really gotta ask. I'ma love you better than the rest. Ooh, say something.